please raise your hand. We'll get started in the room again. Roberto?
Nick, I know it was disappointing one the other time in Miami. How long does it take for the team to process all this and then move on to the next game?
Yeah, it's really disappointing. It's difficult to take in the moment because, we know it should be 3 points when you get that close. I said after the game, I feel for the team because I felt it was, the game was made more difficult for us. This team has shown all year that it can just continue to look forwards. I think I spoke earlier in the season about resilience and about maturity and mentality, and for sure we've developed in that. And what I saw in the dressing room was what I see every time, whether we win, lose, or draw. A team that is really hungry to accept what has happened, find the answers and the solutions to how we improve, but also continue to fight. And I said before, we're in playoff football now, and we're still there. It's really clear what we need to do now, and we look ahead to DC.
So you have to win your next 2 games and get some help from Charlotte or Chicago drops points. You focus on yourself, obviously. What comes up with DC?
Yeah, I think we know. We've looked at all the potential denominations of what we need. We need 2 wins. We need to win the game. Of course, there is possibilities and eventualities either way. For us, we just have to continue to try and prepare ourselves to win a football game. And the next team is DC. We're in the same situation we were in before, in the sense of it's playoff football. If we win, we're in, and if we lose, it's going to be really difficult. So we've prepared the team ahead to DC. It's been a really good training week, actually. It's been the mood and the feel of the group has been excellent. The intensity of the training has been really good, and we've prepared the team to go and win a football game.
Without giving out all the details of what you might do, but the team has now lost 3 or tied 3 games that they were winning in stoppage time on the road. So what can you do to stop that if it comes up again?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we know that we've dropped points at Atlanta, at Columbus, and now in this game. And, I think for us, I think in the short term, it's about trying to find that quick fix. It's trying to make sure that we can try and manage the game better, try not to give away the set play in the last moments, try and, there's a good moment in the game where we probably should try and keep the ball in their half and not try and go to the goal. And those small fixes will give us the best opportunity to win in those moments. I think the reality is this team is going to learn from those moments. This team is going to improve for going through those situations. It's a young team, and we can only learn and become a better team for experience. They're difficult in the short term, but with a young team, you have to go through those moments to improve and to learn from them.
We're going to go back to the Zoom. Chris Campbell.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned needing to win the next 2 games. So obviously you need to score. Does that change the way you approach the game mentally or tactically, knowing that you absolutely have to score? Whereas, perhaps in the past, not necessarily that you didn't want to, but sometimes maybe a 0-0 draw would be okay. Does that change anything from a preparation standpoint?
No, because I think you see in the Miami game, we're the team in the first parts of the game that's on the front foot. We're the team that has all the chances in the first part of the game. And, I've said all season that we have to be more clinical. We have to take our chances. And this Miami game was no different. If we weren't creating goal chances and we were dominated by teams, I think we would have to find different solutions, and we would have to maybe consider changing the plan and, resorting into being a different team. But I think you can see across all of the games recently, we're creating a lot of goal chances. We've been scoring some, but ultimately in the Miami game, if we take the chances in the first half and get 2-0 ahead, the game is more simpler for us. So it's the evolution of this team. It's where we need to get to. It's where we have improved from the start of the season to now, but it's a continuous journey in trying to make sure that our team can, when we've got multiple goals up, we've won football games.
Michael?
Nick, thanks for the time. You mentioned in a press conference a couple of weeks ago how you were a fan of NFL football and you had watched the Jets documentary. And I'm curious, obviously with NFL, it's a very different sport, but those coaches have scenarios, playbooks that they use depending on different game states. In your answer to Roberto about what happened towards the end of the Miami game, you referenced things that were on the field that could have changed or could have been done to, get NYCFC all 3 points. Curious from the coaching perspective, have you gone back and looked at choices that you've made or things that you will do differently in DC or Chicago if you guys have a lead late in the game?
Yeah, of course, I reflect all the time, but I think in hindsight, after the game, it's very easy to say should have, would have, could have. Ultimately, I've been criticised in press conferences for not making substitutions, and now I'm being asked to reflect on whether I would not make substitutions or I would do this or I would do that. Ultimately, as the coach, my job is to always reflect on the performance of the team, the performance of myself, the decisions that I make, and I stand by everyone that I make. Ultimately, our defensive record at the moment is very good. Our ability to create chances is very good. We need to take them, and ultimately, we need to manage games better in the games when we don't get multiple goals ahead. And for us, that is the evolution of us. This is where we have to improve. This is where we would have picked up 6 more points, and I'm well aware of that. So it's a continuous thing. We have to continue to improve, and that's what we'll do.
Chris, you have another one?
Yeah, Coach, DC coming up on Saturday. They played last night. Just curious, what you see from DC in terms of challenges they present, opportunities they present, what are we looking forward to on Saturday?
I think there's always opportunities when you play against teams in our league. We watch them diligently, and you can see in the Austin game that there are opportunities to create goal chances. There are opportunities to score goals. We've created chances against Miami. We've won 2-0 against Orlando. We've scored goals against Toronto. So we need to continue to play on the front foot. We need to continue to play our attacking style of the game and create chances for Munsef. And I've been really pleased with how Tales has been impacting the team. Santi Rodriguez is scoring and creating goals lately. So that always gives us opportunity to win football games. But we know DC are dangerous when they can be direct and when they can put crosses in the box. Christian Benteke is very, very dangerous. We know they've scored goals. I watched the Red Bull game, and they scored multiple goals, but they conceded a lot of goals. We feel that we're prepared to go and win a football game, and we've took a lot of positives out of the Miami game. Miami were a team in form. Miami were a team that were scoring a lot of goals, and for us, if we can continue to be the team that we are defensively and create and be clinical in those chances that we create, it gives us a great chance of winning a football game.
Final one, Christian.
Hi, Coach. You've touched on the evolution and things there. These road games where there's pressure, where there's a clear goal, does that significantly aid that evolution and that chemistry that you talked about in previous weeks?
Yeah, of course. I think, one thing I've been really pleased and proud about is how this team has embraced the challenge that they have. We, 6 games ago, were in a worse position than we are now, and we gave ourselves a real chance by winning football games and by making sure that we pick up points. Of course, we want to turn the draws into wins. We want to beat Minnesota at home, and we reflect consistently on all of these games and where we should have picked up more points. That is the job of myself and the staff. But for me, I've been really proud in how the team have pulled together and embraced when we've had change and when we've tried to find that denomination of guys that can give us the performances that help us win. I've been really pleased with the likes of Andres Yasin and the way that he has contributed. I said previously how Tales and Santi Rodriguez have stepped up, and Munsef continues to be that guy that puts himself in the position to score goals. And, the defensive record speaks for itself. And, I was looking before, I think our form lately puts us up there with the best form in the league. So that is a positive, but we know we have a job on. We know that we have a job to do over the next 2 games. And the one thing I can say is that this team is fully embracing the challenge and is prepared to go and fight for those 2 wins.